First, let's congratulate Pirates for being a worthy opponent. I think they showed their qualities in certain moments in the first half. And we've got to be gracious and humble even in victory, and understand that in football, to have a good match, you need two good opponents. And Pirates have some very good players on the pitch. And even the structure was a little bit difficult for us because they play in a very awkward way. Awkward in the sense that Basaka inverts from left fullback into left center half, and it looks like it's a back three. And then when you go into that, then they overload the midfield with Lodge and Unevadai, who come in as the double tens, right in front of Ben Motswara and Musele. And then that 4 versus 2 gave us a few problems, especially in the one build-up. But then we knew at halftime, and we made a clear and conscious observation, acceptance to say there are certain spaces in football you cannot defend in certain moments. And then we decided to neglect those spaces at halftime and tried not to defend those spaces, and defended the spaces that they were creating problems in with, which is the central area. And then we tweaked a little bit the system. We gave River a different position. We pushed the fullbacks a little bit higher so that we could invite their wing backs, and then we could withdraw Hoto a little bit more, because when we were shallow, Hoto stayed higher. But when we were higher, then Hoto followed a little bit more, and that minus the huge strength of Pirates. And then we regained control of the first half, and we then refreshed the legs. And but good compliments to Mamelodi Sundowns for a very, very good performance, very dominant, very aggressive, both first half, second half. First half we had a couple of difficult moments, but we stayed together and we fought together, and we showed good integrity and honesty to try and protect the team. And then congratulations to Steve Compella, because he's been working very, very hard with the players on set pieces, and it was good to see that 3 of these goals were on set pieces, because when we do our tactical work, once we are done, they remain behind and they invest, and these are the results of investment, you know. So congratulations to Coach Steve, and also to our performance analysts and the entire technical team for the work behind the scenes. And congratulations to the Mamelodi Sundowns supporters. I think this one is for them.
Coach, congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
I've really run out of superlatives trying to explain how good a player Tambazwani is. Of course, it's a team effort. Of course, it is. But individual players such as him, they just show you, the class that he has. And one thing that I understand in football is that simplicity is one of the most difficult things. What does it mean for you personally having a player such as Tambazwani in your squad? I mean, he's been fantastic over the last 4, 5, 6 seasons. Thank you.
No, Garabo is not just Temba. Of course, Temba is special in his own right. He has qualities that belong to the best in the world. The best football players, Karabo, are hardworking. They are intentional with their football. They manage their careers and not their talents. And Temba does that very, very well. Temba is a player that invests a lot. He does his corrections. He analyzes his games. He sits with us to check where he can improve. I mean, can you imagine that the last game when he was man of the match, we still were able to sit and say there's issues with our throw-ins. When he receives the throw-ins, the body's not orientated right, and then he gets dispossessed. And we wanted to we showed the videos of the throw-ins with our analysts, and we did the corrections, and it looked a little bit better today. So Temba has this growth mindset that a lot of successful people, and we always say this is success has the same clues, and Temba is a senior player, leads in that regard. His attitude is good. He trains very hard. He trains even alone, and invests a lot. I mean, there was a video when we played, and I think 3 matches ago, he wasn't in the starting lineup, and we rested him. But um, at 1 a.m. when I looked, I saw Temba training, and this is the mentality that Temba has, and this creates then a culture at Sundowns because successful cultures are embedded from a working culture. You go all over in business, in politics, everywhere. I mean, if you look at these countries that are booming economically, Japan, China, South Korea, they are all based on one thing, and that's a working culture. And this is exactly what we try to have as a culture at Sundowns. But this is led by special players, and as I said, Temba is not the only one. I mean, you can talk about Andile Jali in the same vein. You can talk about Rivaldo. You can talk about Peter Shalulile. You can talk about Rushin, Grant Kekana, Lyle. I mean, Tapelo. These are players that invest a lot. We sit and we analyze and we spend hours and hours on that. And when you have good players who are good human beings and who are coachable, then you've got a possibility to be able to have a very very dominant team on the pitch. And so the game belongs to the players. Congratulations to them for fighting and putting a lot of respect on the Mamelodi Sundowns name.
Um, I know you don't like to single players out, but it must be a little nice and special to see Pavel score 2 goals, considering the sacrifice he made in the last game.
Yeah, this is exactly that. This is exactly that, Rob. Very important for the takeout. It's a big lesson for football players. Selfless football players always succeed. The universe has a way of rewarding people who are not selfish. Pavel understood the sacrifice that we had to make, and we had to make it for the team. And then he accepts and he understands that the team needed to make that sort of change. And fortunately for us, in that moment, the change also worked. And then when it works, and with a clear, humble understanding from the football player, there's then an opportunity presented because the player then does not keep a long face and drag his feet and disrespect the coaches on the pitch. No, the player has huge humility. He works hard and respects the club more than anything else. Pabol showed that he respects the club, and when you do that, we have huge admiration and appreciation, not just for you as a football player, but as a human being. And this is what the gentle giant showed today. He shows that he's a very good person, but a good person that is prepared to help the team to be able to achieve its objectives. And yeah, kudos to him, and thank you to him also, and many of the other substitutes, to be honest, but in particular to Pavol for helping us, because that sort of reaction helps us to align the behavior in the change room, and that's very very important.
Coach, maybe it will be far-fetched, but I'm sure in your back of your mind, guys, you are looking to be the invincible of South Africa. We've never seen that in South Africa. The invincible, it ended up with Arsenal in London or in Britain. Are you starting to think about that to be a team that goes the whole season unbeaten?
No, no, Mr. Shabalala, not even in the slightest. And for many reasons. The first is we have huge respect for all our opponents. We respect all our opponents. We respect the coaches of those opponents. We don't speak ill of teams and mention things like these people think they are invincible and all these things. We have respect. And sometimes when you have respect, the universe then also supports you. But when you disrespect, sometimes it's a little bit difficult because um, even when you show disrespect to people who show you respect, sometimes at the end of the day, everything then God makes a way to try to bring you back because God loves us all. So we can't do that. We can't think of being invincibles because we have respect. We respect all the opponents. There's such a long way to go, and we have a clear understanding that what goes around comes around. So we've got to keep our feet firmly on the ground and continue to work, because this club is a club that has instilled this culture of excellence and greatness. And anything less than playing every single match with the same intensity, with the same commitment, the same aggression, the same concentration is just not good enough. If that at the end of the season helps us to continue to be unbeaten, then that becomes a byproduct. The focus is just to make sure that we go game by game. We respect the coaches of the opponents. We respect the opposition. We analyze and we check. Like all the games, we go into 3, 4, 5 games even of the opposition. And even when the games come thick and fast with 2 days in between, we know that we've still got corrections to do, and we analyze our game to make sure that our performances are always at the right level. And then we check the strengths and the weaknesses of our opposition. So this is the work that we do. And then when you have good human beings in your change room who work hard and who love winning and who do whatever it takes in relation to applying themselves on the pitch for the win, then of course, then we understand that great things will come out of that process. But at this moment in time, it's feet firmly planted on the ground, and we look forward to the next match.